Night draped itself over the city like a heavy velvet curtain, muffling the sounds of life and cloaking the hospital in a strange tranquility. Within those walls, where the pulse of urgency never truly slept, Lynn sat at the reception desk of the emergency ward, her hands folded neatly before her. She was new to this world, freshly graduated, her heart still tender, eager, and perhaps naive. The fluorescent lights, usually harsh, now seemed to buzz with a softer hum, as if aware that the world outside had quieted. It was 2 a.m., that hour when the city's heartbeat slows and shadows stretch longer. Lynn had heard the stories, whispered tales of odd happenings on the night shift, accounts passed between nurses over cups of bitter coffee. She hadn't given them much thought. After all, she believed in science, in medicine, in procedures and protocols. What room was there for ghosts in the world of vital signs and blood tests? She gazed out over the waiting area, empty save for the rows of plastic chairs, each one gleaming faintly under the pale lights. The hospital's nighttime air was different, denser somehow, as if the building itself held its breath. Suddenly, the silence shattered. A sharp, metallic sound rang out from the emergency room, a clatter, brief but distinct, echoing through the corridor. Lynn's heart leaped. It could have been anything, a stray instrument, the wind rattling a window, a malfunctioning machine. But the sound was wrong. It was too deliberate. She hesitated, then stood, her footsteps muffled by the linoleum as she made her way down the corridor. She pushed open the door to the emergency room. The light inside was cold and unfeeling, illuminating the space with an almost surgical clarity. There was no one there. Only a single bed sat in the center of the room, its sheets crisply folded, untouched. The monitors were silent, their screens dark. Lynn scanned the space, her breath held, waiting for something, anything, to explain the noise. But there was nothing, only silence. She exhaled, feeling foolish. It was probably just a machine settling, she told herself, or maybe the building itself shifting in the night. She closed the door softly and returned to her post. Back at the desk, Lynn tried to settle her nerves, focusing on her work. The hospital's computer system was old, the interface clunky, but she knew her way around it well enough. She logged in, checking the patient roster. Tonight was uneventful. Only a handful of cases, nothing out of the ordinary. Then, the lights in the hallway began to flicker. It started with a single bulb, blinking once, twice, then stabilizing. But soon, another joined in, and another, until the entire corridor seemed to pulse with uncertain energy. Lynn frowned, glancing up. Power surges weren't uncommon in old buildings, but there was something about the way the lights flickered, almost as if they were signaling her. Ignoring the unease creeping into her chest, Lynn turned back to her computer. That was when she saw it. A new name had appeared on the patient list. Vu. She didn't recognize it. She scrolled through the details, expecting to find a record of admission, age, diagnosis. But the file was incomplete, almost blank. No ID, no treatment notes, no attending physician. She paused. Had she missed a new arrival? Maybe a patient had been transferred in while she was away. But the timestamps didn't make sense. There was no record of Vu being admitted tonight, or ever. The search returned nothing. Lynn felt a chill run through her. She'd heard tales of the system glitching, but not like this. She decided to investigate. Rising from her chair, she made her way down the corridor, her footsteps echoing in the flickering half-light. The hospital felt suddenly vast, its corridors stretching longer and deeper than ever before. The emergency room door loomed ahead, its surface gleaming. She entered the room for the second time that night. This time she was not alone. In the far corner, a figure stood. At first, Lynn thought it was a patient, a man, tall and gaunt, his features obscured by shadow. But as she drew closer, she realized that he was somehow insubstantial, his outline blurred, as if he were both there and not there, a trick of the light, a shape carved out of the night itself. She stopped, heart pounding, her words catching in her throat. "Who are you?" she finally managed, her voice trembling. "Why are you here?" The figure turned, his face pale and hollow, eyes dark and endless. The air grew colder, and Lynn felt an icy current pass through her, as though she had stepped into a winter storm. He spoke, his voice soft, almost resigned. "I died here," he said. "Don't look for me anymore." The words hung in the air, heavy and final. Lynn stared, unable to move, unable to speak. And then, as suddenly as he had appeared, the man was gone, vanished, leaving behind only the echo of his words. Lynn stumbled backward, her breath coming in short, ragged gasps. The room was empty once more, but the chill lingered, seeping into her bones. She returned to the desk, shaken. The night stretched on, each minute heavier than the last. Sleep was impossible. Her mind replayed the encounter over and over, searching for explanations, for logic, for reason. Unable to rest, Lynn returned to the computer. She searched for the name, Vu, digging deeper into the hospital's archives. Finally, she found it, buried in old records. Vu had been a patient, admitted a year ago after a catastrophic accident. He had died in the emergency room, his passing noted in a brief, clinical entry. No further details, no mention in staff meetings, no memorial. But as Lynn read, she found something else, a series of notes, unofficial, written in shaky handwriting. "Strange noises in ER," one read. "Lights flickering. Unexplained cold spots." Her heart raced. She wasn't the first to experience these things. Others had sensed it too. The lingering presence, the inexplicable chills, the feeling of being watched. The stories blossomed in her mind, connecting the dots. The nurses' whispers, the janitor's hurried glances, the way some staff avoided certain rooms at night. Vu's death had left a mark, an imprint that refused to fade. From that night forward, Lynn's world changed. Each time she worked the night shift, she felt eyes upon her, sometimes a fleeting shadow in an empty ward, sometimes a reflection in the polished glass of a medicine cabinet. At first, she tried to ignore it, telling herself it was stress, exhaustion, the tricks the mind plays in the dark. But the signs grew more persistent. Doors would open and close on their own. The temperature in the emergency room would plunge, even as the rest of the hospital remained warm. Once Lynn caught sight of a figure in the mirror behind her desk. A pale face, watching, silent. She spoke to her colleagues, but most dismissed her fears. The older nurses smiled, shaking their heads. "You're just tired," they said. "This place can get to you if you let it." Others looked away, unwilling to meet her eyes. Yet Lynn knew what she had seen. The image of Vu's face haunted her dreams, his words echoing in the silence. "Don't look for me anymore." She began to dread the night shift, her anxiety mounting with each passing week. Sleep eluded her, and each time she closed her eyes, she felt as though she were falling, not into rest, but into a cold, endless void. One evening, unable to bear it any longer, Lynn made her decision. She drafted her resignation letter, her hands trembling as she typed. She could not face another night under the hospital's haunted gaze. Her final shift was uneventful. No flickering lights, no unexplained sounds. But Lynn felt the weight of unseen eyes upon her. A silent farewell. She walked out into the dawn, the city stirring to life around her. The hospital loomed behind, its walls sheltering stories too strange to fit into charts and reports. Lynn knew she would never forget what she had witnessed, nor the lesson it had taught her. Not everything in this world can be explained, and some mysteries are meant to remain unsolved. Yet even as she stepped into the light, she wondered, was she truly leaving the past behind? Or would Vu's story follow her, a shadow at the edge of memory? In the days that followed, Lynn tried to rebuild her life. She found work at a smaller clinic, where the nights were quieter, the air lighter. But every so often, she would catch herself glancing over her shoulder, searching for a face in the shadows, a flicker in the glass. She spoke little of her experience, though the story burned inside her. Sometimes, late at night, she would wonder about the people who still worked those shifts, those who sat at the reception desk, unaware of the history lurking in the hospital's heart. Did they sense the cold currents? Did they hear the footsteps echoing in empty halls? Did they see the flicker of movement in rooms that should have been empty? Lynn knew that some would laugh, others would scoff. But for those who listened, those who believed, she offered a quiet warning. Some places hold on to their secrets, refusing to let go. Some stories do not end, but linger, waiting for the next witness. The city's hospital continued its work, saving lives, losing others. The emergency room remained, its bed neatly made, its monitors blinking in the night. And somewhere, at the edge of perception, a presence waited, a story unfinished, a voice unheard. For Lynn, life moved on, but the memory remained, a persistent echo, a reminder that the line between the living and the dead is sometimes thinner than we wish to believe. And so, her tale joined the chorus of whispered stories, of things seen and unseen, heard and unspoken, passing from one night shift worker to the next. In the heart of the city, beneath the hum of fluorescent lights, they waited, listening, wondering. What is it, after all, that haunts us? Is it the fear of the unknown, or the certainty that some mysteries refuse to be solved? Is it the chill of a presence, or the echo of a voice saying, "Don't look for me anymore"? The hospital's doors remain open, its corridors stretching into the night, its rooms filled with life and loss, hope and regret. And somewhere within its walls, the story continues. For those who walk its halls at night, for those who pause and listen to the silence, the lesson is clear. Not every patient's chart tells the whole story. Some names linger, even after the records are closed. Some faces appear, even when the room is empty. Lynn's journey is over, but the mystery endures. A question, a warning, a tale to be told in whispers, beneath the hum of the night shift, in the spaces where light flickers and shadows gather. And so, as the city wakes and the hospital prepares for another day, the story of Lynn and Vu remains, woven into the fabric of the night, waiting for the next witness, the next believer, the next soul brave enough to ask, "Who are you? Why are you here?" Perhaps somewhere the answer lingers, patient and silent, in the heart of the hospital, beneath the watchful eyes of the night.